She is not my wife. She is just my maid. Please, hear me out. This is important to us. I'm listening, but I'm not sure I agree.
What happens when a man introduces his wife as his maid at a fancy party, only to watch his boss introduce her as the most important person in the room? The answer will change everything he thought he knew about power, respect, and love. Clifford Whitmore stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie for the 5th time. Tonight was the night. The Henderson Global Business Gala. Every important person in the company would be there. This was his chance to shine, to be noticed, to climb higher up the ladder of success. He smiled at his reflection, practicing his confident handshake and his smooth talking voice. In the next room, Maria was ironing his best suit jacket. She moved quietly, like she always did. Her hands were gentle but strong, smoothing out every wrinkle with care. Maria had been married to Clifford for 6 years, but sometimes it felt like she was invisible to him. She didn't mind the quiet most days. She had learned to find peace in small things, like the morning coffee she made just right, or the book she read late at night when Clifford was already asleep. "Maria, hurry up with that jacket," Clifford called out. His voice had that edge it always got when he was nervous. "We can't be late. This gala is everything." Maria brought the jacket to him, perfectly pressed. "It's ready," she said softly. Clifford grabbed it without looking at her. "Listen, when we get there tonight, just stay quiet, okay? These are important people. Business people. I need them to take me seriously." Maria nodded, but something small and sad flickered in her eyes. "Of course." "And Maria," Clifford continued, checking his reflection one more time, "if anyone asks who you are, just say you're helping out for the evening. You know, keep it simple. These people don't need to know our whole life story." Maria's hands tightened around the empty hanger. "You want me to lie about being your wife?" "It's not lying," Clifford said quickly. "It's just being smart. You don't understand how these business things work. Image is everything. I can't have people thinking I'm just some regular guy with a regular life. I need to stand out." "And I make you look regular?" Maria asked. Her voice was still soft, but there was something new in it. Something that made Clifford uncomfortable. "That's not what I meant," he said, but he wouldn't meet her eyes. "Just trust me on this, okay? One night. That's all I'm asking." The car ride to the gala was silent. Maria looked out the window at the city lights blurring past. She thought about the girl she used to be, before Clifford, before everything got so complicated. She had been studying to be a social worker back then, spending her days helping families in need, listening to their stories, fighting for their rights. She had been so full of fire and purpose. Then she met Clifford at a community event. He was charming, funny, and he made her feel special. When they got married, he asked her to take a break from her work. "Just for a while," he said. "Just until he got established in his career." That was 6 years ago. The Henderson Global Tower gleamed like a diamond in the night sky. Expensive cars lined up at the entrance. Women in sparkling dresses and men in perfect suits stepped out, laughing and chatting. Clifford's hands gripped the steering wheel tight. This was his moment. "Remember what I said," he whispered to Maria as they walked toward the entrance. "Keep it simple." Inside, the ballroom was like something from a fairy tale. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting rainbow light across the marble floors. Tables were covered in white cloth and decorated with flowers that probably cost more than Maria's weekly grocery budget. Waiters moved smoothly through the crowd carrying trays of champagne and tiny foods that looked almost too pretty to eat. Clifford straightened his shoulders and dove into the crowd. Maria followed a few steps behind, like a shadow. He shook hands with everyone, laughing loudly at jokes that weren't that funny, complimenting ties and dresses, dropping names of people he barely knew. Maria watched him transform into someone she didn't quite recognize. "Clifford Whitmore," a tall man with silver hair called out. "Good to see you here." "Mr. Peterson," Clifford said, shaking his hand eagerly. "Thank you for the invitation. This is incredible." Mr. Peterson's eyes shifted to Maria. "And who is this lovely lady?" Clifford's smile froze for just a second. "Oh, this is Maria. She's helping out with the coats and things tonight." The words hit Maria like cold water. She felt her cheeks burn, but she kept her face calm. She had practiced being invisible for so long that she knew how to hide her feelings. "How nice," Mr. Peterson said, barely looking at her before turning back to Clifford. "We need more good help at these events." Maria excused herself quietly and walked toward the edge of the room. Her heart was beating fast, and her hands felt cold. She found a quiet corner near a tall window that looked out over the city. From here, she could see Clifford working the room, moving from group to group, always smiling, always performing. "Excuse me, are you Maria Fernandez?" Maria turned around, startled. A woman in an elegant blue dress stood there, smiling warmly. She looked like she was in her 50s, with kind eyes and silver earrings that caught the light. "Yes," Maria said carefully. "I thought so," the woman said. "I'm Catherine Wells. I work with the Henderson Foundation. We've been trying to reach you for weeks." Maria's confusion must have shown on her face because Catherine continued, "About the grant proposal you submitted 2 years ago? For the Family Support Program in the East District." Maria's eyes went wide. She had almost forgotten about that proposal. It was from her old life, before Clifford convinced her to step back from her work. She had designed a whole program to help struggling families get back on their feet, with counseling, job training, and childcare support. "I didn't think anyone would remember that," Maria said quietly. "Remember it?" Catherine laughed. "Dear, it's been sitting on Mr. Henderson's desk for months. He's been desperate to meet you. Your proposal was brilliant. The research, the budget breakdown, the implementation plan. It's exactly the kind of innovative thinking we need." Before Maria could respond, a voice boomed across the ballroom. "Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please." Everyone turned toward the stage. There stood Richard Henderson himself, the founder and CEO of Henderson Global. He was a large man with a friendly face and a reputation for being tough but fair. The room fell silent. "Thank you all for coming tonight," Mr. Henderson said. "Before we begin the evening's program, I have a special announcement. We've been searching for the right person to lead our new community impact initiative. This program will change lives across the city. And after months of searching, we found someone with the vision, the heart, and the expertise to make it happen." Clifford stood in the crowd, his chest puffed up. Maybe, just maybe, this was his moment. Maybe Mr. Henderson had noticed his hard work. "I'd like to invite her to the stage," Mr. Henderson continued. "The woman who will be hosting tonight's gala and leading our new initiative. Please welcome Maria Fernandez." The room burst into applause. Clifford's face went white. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He turned slowly, searching the crowd, and his eyes found Maria standing by the window. She looked just as shocked as he felt. Catherine Wells was gently guiding Maria toward the stage. Maria's legs felt like they might give out, but she kept walking. Every step felt strange, like she was moving through a dream. When she reached the stage, Mr. Henderson shook her hand warmly. "I'm so glad you could make it tonight, Ms. Fernandez," he said. "Though I was told you might not come. Something about not having received your invitation." Maria's voice was barely a whisper. "I didn't know anything about this." Mr. Henderson frowned. "That's odd. I sent the invitation to your home address months ago. I wanted tonight to be a surprise celebration of your new position." Across the room, Clifford felt like the floor was falling away beneath him. The invitation. He remembered now. A fancy envelope had come to their apartment 3 months ago, addressed to Maria. He had thrown it away without telling her. It looked like some charity thing, and he didn't want Maria getting distracted with volunteer work again. He needed her focused on supporting his career. Now, as he watched his wife stand on that stage next to the most powerful man in the company, as he saw hundreds of eyes looking at her with respect and admiration, as he heard the applause that should have been for him, Clifford Whitmore finally understood what he had done. But it was too late. The truth was out. And everyone in that glittering ballroom now knew that he had introduced his brilliant, accomplished wife as a maid. Are you enjoying this story so far? If you want to know what happens next, please like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next episode. Also, drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. We love hearing from you, and your support helps us bring you more amazing stories like this one. One evening, he was helping a young father fill out job applications when Maria walked in. She stopped when she saw him, surprise flickering across her face. "Mr. Henderson told me you were volunteering," she said. I didn't believe him. "I'm trying," Clifford said simply. "I'm trying to understand." Maria nodded. "That's good. Keep trying." She didn't stay to talk. She had work to do, meetings to attend, families to help. But seeing her there, confident and purposeful, made Clifford realize something important. He had never lost Maria. He had never really had her in the first place, because he had never made space for the real her to exist in their marriage. Clifford also started seeing a therapist named Dr. Harris. At first, he just complained about how unfair everything was. But Dr. Harris was patient, asking gentle questions that made Clifford uncomfortable. "Why did you need Maria to be smaller?" Dr. Harris asked one day. "I didn't need her to be smaller," Clifford protested. "I just needed to succeed." "But why couldn't you both succeed?" Dr. Harris pressed. "Why did her light have to be dimmed for yours to shine?" Clifford didn't have an answer. Over the following weeks, he began to explore the deep fear that had driven his behavior. He was afraid of being nobody. He was afraid that without achievements and recognition, he had no value. So he had tried to steal value from Maria, to use her light to make himself visible. "Real confidence doesn't come from standing on someone else's shoulders," Dr. Harris told him. "It comes from knowing who you are, even when nobody's watching." 6 months after the gala, Clifford saw Maria at a coffee shop. She was meeting with Catherine Wells, both of them smiling over spreadsheets and reports. He almost walked past without saying hello, not wanting to interrupt. But Maria looked up and waved him over. "Clifford, sit down," she said. It wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold either. It was something in between. He sat carefully, holding his coffee cup like a shield. "How's the program going?" "It's going really well," Maria said, and her face lit up in a way he hadn't seen in years. "We've helped 80 families this month alone. Real, lasting help. It's everything I dreamed it could be." "I heard," Clifford said. "You're amazing, Maria. You always were. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it." Maria studied his face. "I heard you've been volunteering. 3 nights a week for 6 months. That's commitment." "It's not enough," Clifford said. "It'll never be enough to make up for what I did. But it's teaching me things I should have learned a long time ago." "Like what?" Maria asked. "Like how to listen, how to respect people, how to measure success by how many people you lift up, not by how high you climb." Maria was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that surprised him. "I've been thinking about us. About our marriage. I'm not ready to come back. Not yet. But maybe we could try talking. Really talking. Once a week. No promises. Just honest conversation." Clifford felt hope bloom in his chest, but he kept it small and careful. "I'd like that. I'd like that a lot." So they started meeting for coffee every Tuesday. At first, the conversations were stiff and awkward. But slowly, they began to share real things. Maria talked about the loneliness she had felt during their marriage, always supporting Clifford's dreams while her own gathered dust. Clifford talked about his fear of being ordinary, his desperate need for approval, and how therapy was helping him find his worth in quieter, truer places. One Tuesday, almost a year after the gala, Maria told Clifford something important. "I've been offered a position at a national organization. They want me to design programs like this one all across the country. It would mean traveling. A lot. It would mean being gone sometimes." Clifford's first instinct was panic. But he caught himself. This was a test, he realized. Not from Maria, but from himself. Could he support her dreams even if they made his life harder? "That's incredible, Maria," he said, and he meant it. "You should take it. You have to take it. This is your moment." Maria's eyes filled with tears. "You mean that?" "I mean it," Clifford said. "I spent years trying to make you smaller so I could feel bigger. I'm not doing that anymore. Your success doesn't threaten me. It inspires me." Maria reached across the table and took his hand. It was the first time she had touched him in months. "I think we might be able to find our way back to each other," she said softly. "But it's going to be a different kind of marriage. One where we're both equals. Both seen. Both valued." "I want that," Clifford said. "I want that more than anything." The following year, Henderson Global held another gala. This time, Clifford and Maria arrived together, truly together. Maria was hosting again, her program now a national model. Clifford sat in the audience, watching his wife command the stage with grace and power. When she thanked him in her speech, calling him her partner and her friend, he felt something he had never felt before. Pride without jealousy. Joy without competition. Love without conditions. After the gala, they walked together through the city streets, hand in hand. The lights of the buildings twinkled above them like stars. "I'm proud of you," Clifford said. "I'm proud of us," Maria replied. "We took something broken and built something new. That's not easy." Clifford stopped walking and turned to face her. "I see you, Maria. I really see you. And I promise I'll never stop seeing you again." Maria smiled, and in that smile was forgiveness, hope, and the kind of love that's earned through honesty and time. "I see you too, Clifford. The real you. And I like what I see." They stood there on the sidewalk, two ordinary people who had learned that true dignity doesn't come from titles or applause. It comes from treating each other with respect, from lifting each other up, and from having the courage to be truly seen. The city buzzed around them, but in that moment, they were exactly where they needed to be. Together, equal, and finally truly free.